coaching or mentorship available in this because it's such a niche thing that we do, right? It's so specific, it's so narrow. So yeah, there wasn't a lot to kind of um, to explore in terms of resources. So yeah, I'm happy to chat and help. And if this helps, some other stretch therapists in some way, I'm happy for that. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, like I said, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name's Ian. I'm actually the host here. And today I have a business owner. He has actually three locations, correct, out in Canada. And his name is Rui Saraiva. He's the owner of Stretch Health Canada. And so I invited him over because I met him through the FST course up in Burlington. And he did offer some, insights into how he got started. So I wanted to kind of dig his brain, his backstory, how he got started, what was his motivation, and then of course just a little bit more of his expansion because he is growing and he has a lot of employees, contractors working with you.
They're independent contractors that we have.
Okay, cool. So tell me. Rui, can you tell us, so how many locations exactly? You have 3 locations, correct?
We have 4. So we have 2 in London, Ontario, 1 in Kitchener, and 1 in the beaches of Toronto, which is where I am now.
Gotcha. And how many, independent contractors do you have roughly?
I think we're around 25 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
In each. And then can you tell me also like your backstory of like how did you get into doing fast stretch therapy as a thing?
Yeah, so it was completely by accident. I'll be honest with you. My background, depending how far back you want to go, like I was in the military. I trained with a airborne outfit, so I was a paratrooper with the Canadian Forces for like 9 years. And then during that time in the Army, I was like loving all of the, all the training, and it was really good. And I thought I was good at it. So I thought, you know what, why don't I try my hand at something even more dangerous? And so I thought I'd go to firefighting school and learn how to go into burning buildings and stuff. So I did that. I got into a very competitive firefighting program at Humber College. Graduated with honors, loved it. And this was sort of my jam. I was, jumping out of planes, shooting guns, blowing things up, going into burning buildings. Maybe I was a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I don't know. But during that period of time when I was doing all this crazy stuff, I was also kind of trying my hand at, athletic coaching, personal training. I had a big passion for fitness, and I always did. I started lifting weights when I was 19, and I just never stopped. So I was always into fitness. I joined the military when I was 20, when I was very young. I was in for 9 years. And so, like I said, I was kind of doing all of these things simultaneously. But there was a conference, and a lot of people know who are in the fitness industry about the CanFit Pro conference.
Yep.
I was at the CanFit Pro conference one year, and I had accidentally stumbled upon the FST. It was like a 2-day pre-course conference they did. It was like a 2-day, like almost like just an essentials workshop. And that was the first time I'd ever actually learned any sort of like manual type of, assisted stretching or therapy. And I was absolutely hooked. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And when I had it done on me, I was like, this feels great. Like, why are we not doing more of this? I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So there was a bit of a light bulb moment with that. And as soon as I finished that 2-day essentials course, my path was just completely altered from that point forward. So I from there, just pursued all of the different levels. I've gone to Arizona to finish my level 3. I went back to school again, actually got my designation as a massage therapist now in Ontario. So I'm registered as a massage therapist. But I have, kind of just really, gone deep into that rabbit hole, but it was a complete 180 from where I started, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, intense. Like I said, adrenaline junkie to something where down regulates, kind of calms people down. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you, I guess, decided to, dive into stretch therapy, and then how did you hear about Stretch to Win? Besides, is it just through the CanFit Pro?
Yeah, I was mainly through CanFit Pro. Kevin Darby was really, I guess, the guy I have to thank for that. He was kind of instrumental because he was, really, really kind of paving the way for, stretch therapy as a modality in Canada. And, so that's kind of how I heard about it. I'd done a ton of, courses and certifications through the DTS Fitness Education And so the FST was just kind of like, one course in a list of, various courses that I had done there. But yeah, that's kind of, Kevin was really the guy who really kind of inspired me.
Yeah. No, he's definitely a big player up there in Canada, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he has a lot of people really taking a lot of those DTS courses. So big props to him. What were your beginnings of Stretch Health Canada? Like, what was your idea, your dreams that you had when you started this?
That's a great question. Like, I mean, when there were periods of time when I started to realize there was a market for this. And,
Hmm.
I don't really have a business background, I'll be honest. Like I told you my background, I come from military and firefighting. I didn't know anything about business, but um, what I did notice was that when I started treating my clients at the gym, right? Because I was working as a personal trainer in the gym, and I would have this massage table out on the open gym floor, and I would just be, practicing my stretch stuff with all of my clients. And it was funny
Hmm.
because they would always come back the next week and be like, "Hey, Rui, that stretch thing you did last week? Yeah, I felt great. Can we do that again today?" And I'd just be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, Bob. Like, let's do it." I mean, I love, lifting weights and deadlifting, but I mean, if you were getting more benefit out of the stretch, I mean, let's do it. So it just kind of took over my business as a trainer. And what happened was that there was just a light bulb moment. I thought, a lot of people are asking for more of this stuff. And then it just kind of dawned on me, and I thought, what, I wonder if I could build a team around me and maybe even start a brand, and maybe, because I knew at the time I had heard of some big stretch franchises, but they were all down in the United States. They were,
Yeah.
your Stretch Lab, your Stretch Zone.
Hmm.
Um, these are huge companies, and like we're talking hundreds of locations, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a big machine. So, this was really, so what happened was I, was very interested in learning more about that stretch business. So what I did was I called the closest Stretch Zone location to me, which is in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. I booked an appointment and I
Uh-huh.
drove down there, across the border, drove down there, and just started kind of picking their brain and asking them questions. And I just kind of told them, listen, I'm interested in the business, and I'd love to learn more about, like, how do you guys, price and package your sessions? How do you recruit, new staff members? How do you market your services? Like, and they told me everything. It was great. I just kind of, like, as soon as I left that appointment, I ran to my car, got out a notepad, and just kind of wrote everything down that I could remember. And then I took that information back to me, or back to London with me, and realized, yeah, this can be done. I could totally do this. So I was still in school at the time, working
Hmm.
towards my registration as a massage therapist. And some of my fellow classmates who are in school with me were also FST certified. So I just kind of pitched it to them.
Huh.
I said, "Hey, you guys, I think I might start this stretch business. Do you guys want to be part of my team? I'd love to have you guys on." And they were all for it. They're like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's go." So we started, Stretch Health in the summer of 2019. We didn't even have a clinic location set up. We were like barely even started, but what we did was we actually kind of struck gold, because there's a huge um music festival in London, Ontario called Sunfest. It's a 4-day music festival, and it's an event that gets hundreds of thousands of visitors and foot traffic. It's a big event.
Oh.
And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a booth where we could, maybe help funnel some traffic to help, fill our clinic. And
Hmm.
we just, by chance, because this event has a 7-year wait list for vendors, and someone canceled last minute, and they said, "Listen, you guys," because I was on a wait list. They said, "Listen, the first person who sends in their deposit will get the booth, but otherwise you're back on the wait list." And I, within minutes, sent in my application. He transferred the deposit. We got our foot in the door. We got to Sunfest, and it was madness. That weekend was so powerful. It was so inspiring because we had lineups of people, you know, like wanting to get stretched. And I thought, this is crazy. If this is any indication of like the demand for the service, like, I don't know what is. Like, it just made a lot of sense, and everyone was wanting it. Like I said, we had lineups. Um, it was just a really cool weekend, and that was kind of what actually helped boost traffic into that clinic, which we were, by the way, just subleasing a small space within a larger physio clinic at the time. That's kind of where
Hmm.
we started. Then eventually we kind of grew out of that and had to kind of, find our more permanent space, a larger space, to accommodate the extra volume we were doing. But yeah, it was. sort of a, yeah, that's kind of how it all happened. So
So is the London location the first one?
yeah, so I'm from London, Ontario. London was the
Okay.
first location we started. So there was a period of, really looking to just test the concept first. We wanted to test and make sure that this could work as a business. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then what was after London? Kitchener or the Toronto
Yeah,
one?
so it was London, and then after London it was Kitchener, and then Toronto shortly after that. Yeah,
Okay. And then this newest one is that Toronto Beach, correct?
correct.
Or okay. Man, that's awesome. That's just from 2019, that this whole idea, and now 2024 right now we have 4 locations, 25 employees. That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. With no business
Doing okay.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
Um, I guess when you started this whole company, what were your initial thoughts or ideas of starting it? Like, I know you said that you were, you felt the effects of FST. You knew that there was a demand, but did you ever have like initial thoughts like, man, I don't know if this can be done? Because like I myself, I'm a sole proprietor. I'm just me, but you have a team. So when you were starting, like, what were some of those thoughts or those things that you had to kind of get over the hump?
Yeah, the thought was I have no idea what I'm doing, and I should probably figure this thing out quick because I really had no clue. Like, so I had no business background. So what I did was I invested into some, online business coaching and mentorship. So I paid into a program, um, and shout out to Sean Greeley from NPE, Net Profit Explosion. They primarily deal with helping fitness business entrepreneurs, and what I realized though was that, starting their program gave me a lot of the foundational tools I needed to understand just basic fundamentals of running a business. Everything from, setting your company mission statement, core values, building your ideal client avatar, how to properly screen,
Hmm.
recruit, staff members. There's so many moving pieces. So they really gave me the tools needed. So I stayed with them for a few years, and they really taught me a lot. And that's what kind of gave me a good foundation. And then from there, I was able to kind of, continue building up company. But otherwise, without them, I would probably be pretty, clueless. And, probably what happens is when you pay into mentorship or coaching, you're basically just
Hmm.
paying for them to try and collapse your success. So what happens is you're going to pay in one form or another. You're either going to pay with time, right? By
Yeah.
learning, all of these mistakes you're going to have to go through yourself, or you pay a coach and mentor who actually has done the work, who's built the systems and the
Hmm.
processes after like lots of errors, and then you get to fast track your success because they're going to give you all of the do's and do nots. Alex Hormozy calls it ignorance debt, right? You're going to pay down your ignorance debt one way or another, right? It's either going to be through private coaching or just through like experience and time making the mistakes yourself. So I was just in a position where I was like, I'd rather just pay someone or, and Sean Greeley at the time, his crew, to teach me all these fundamentals so that I can grow faster. And it helped tremendously. So shout out to him.
Okay. Sean, what was his last name? Sean.
Greeley, Gree Ely or Ley, one of the two.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'll look him
NPE.
up.
It's NPE. Net Profit Explosion is. You just Google it. Yeah, he's got a great, really good, strong coaching program for people who want to start any sort of business in the health and wellness space. Whether you're a yoga instructor, a stretch clinic, boot camp
Hmm.
studio, whatever. They got a great team there.
And I noticed like on your website, you have a portion that says, like if interested in becoming a franchise owner, click here. But how do you determine your franchise location? Is it based on geographic, city size, or like how do you guys determine it?
Yeah, so it's a great question. That's something that we just started doing. So I got to a point where I realized I was sort of becoming the bottleneck in the business, and the constraint and in growth was really me personally because I don't have the bandwidth to continue opening locations personally, beyond what I've already opened. It was just something that, and there was some lessons that came along the way that made that really crystal clear. And so the answer I think was just like, I think now is just the time to start giving up some ownership let other people become their own clinics and let them kind of carry on the brand and the business. We'll give them all of the tools necessary. We'll give them all the methodologies that we've built over the last 5 years. Talked about time collapsing your success, right? This is why people pay into franchising or licensing, whatever it is. And it's
Yeah.
because, they've built the model that works. So yeah, you pay a small royalty in exchange for a proven model, a system that is going to, pretty close to guarantee, success or results provided you follow them. So that's where, yeah, we're about to open up our first ever licensed stretch health clinic location in Mississauga. It's going to be opening up next month, I think October 1st. And so
Right.
Mississauga just was the first licensed location we landed on because, so to give you a bit of background, like Stretch Health, we do a lot of community work. We do a ton of outreaches, festivals, events, workshops. We're constantly in the community, like promoting health, wellness, stretching. So we're teaching people, mobility workshops, like how to foam roll properly, how to stretch. We'll do private stretch events where we'll bring our portable massage tables to, an office building or a gym or wherever, and we'll promote our services that way as well. But all of this community stuff was sort of, it was a great way to generate leads. But what happened was we started to really build a reputation. And now with, what used to be Stretch Health kind of being the ones, reaching out to these organizations to inquire whether they'd be interested. Now they're reaching out to us. People are starting to, hear through the grapevine, oh, hey, there's a stretch company. They do amazing work. They can come do a really cool mobility workshop or stretch event. So what happened was we got a lot of organizations reaching out to us in the Mississauga area, asking if we'd be willing to come and do some private stretch events. And so I thought, Mississauga probably makes sense to open up our first location so that we can funnel a lot of that traffic to the clinic. Because what happens is when we do these events, it generates a ton of business for us. So it generates a lot of leads. And so that's why I think Mississauga just kind of lined up. We wanted to kind of set them up for success. We have all these amazing events lined up for them, which is going to help drive traffic and revenue for that clinic owner. But beyond that, we don't really have a strict criteria for, where to open up the next location. I think it's really just going to be based on demand, the population density area, obviously, and also, how savvy the business owner is, right? So we go through a pretty rigorous screening process and interview process to make sure that, whoever is going to be opening up a Stretch Health clinic is a really strong fit because, like I said, we've spent the last 5 years building up the brand, building reputation. It'd be kind of scary to just, carelessly hand that off to someone who's going to just completely tarnish the brand. So there's, we have a strict sort of rigorous process that we go through. We want to make sure they're a good fit, and then we go from there.
That's awesome. So those community events I really like because I'm doing the same thing too. I'm in Maryland, so I'm really reaching out to different communities in this county. So I really like that. I think it does build trust, and especially building brand awareness. So that's a huge thing, man. So obviously for you, and your goals for Stretch Health Canada, is it just to really educate, to really spread the awareness of what stretch therapy is, or what is your ambition of Stretch Health Canada? Like, I know you have your core values, but
yeah, I mean, like it can really be summed up in the company mission statement, right? So like that was something, I'll be honest, I wrote it on the back of a napkin when I first started this thing, thinking, oh, this will be important sometime down the road, and then you realize as the business grows and scales, you're like, oh crap, no, this thing that I wrote on the back of a napkin is the most important thing. That is the beacon. That is the driver. That is every single decision you make. If it's not working towards that, forget about it. So, and the mission is simple. Stretch Health is on a mission to help thousands of Canadians improve their health and mobility. Period. That's it. That's why we exist. That's our purpose. So everything we do is, designed to support that overarching, mission statement. So what that means is, operationally, like we will likely be opening up, in the coming years, hopefully, dozens of stretch clinics across the country. But it won't be me. It'll be,
especially
again,
outside
like I
of
said,
Ontario, hopefully, into
What's
different regions. I don't know. Yeah.
What's that?
I
Sorry?
said hopefully even outside of Ontario into different.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's, tons of stretch therapists in the West Coast, East Coast, and everything in between. Like and again, kudos to Kevin Darby for really growing the Stretch to Win Canada side of things. Because in fact, if I wasn't, I could be mistaken, but I think they may have surpassed the United States in terms of the number of stretch therapists that they've certified, or that they certify
I couldn't
regularly.
agree more, because honestly, I've never heard about it, and I see more clinicians, more Canadian clinicians doing FST than
Yeah,
here in the US.
yeah, it's big in Canada, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's grown here very quickly. So we're kind of riding that
Mhm.
wave right now. Um, so it's interesting, but yeah, that's what I've seen happen. Yeah.
So as the business owner, the CEO, like, what's been the hardest thing? Looking back 5 years from the time you started till now, what's been the hardest thing, and what's been like the most enjoyable thing? With Stretch Health Canada, you
No,
personally.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool, fulfilling uh parts of being a business owner. I'll admit it's very empowering. I mean, you can really there's a lot of great things that come with it. However, there's a lot of really hard things that come with it too. And so I think
Hmm.
the hardest thing, I think looking back, was just not really understanding or knowing how how difficult some of the business building you know things were going to be. And I think, like, yeah, it might have been Elon Musk. Someone
Sorry, I
said,
lost you
like,
there.
if, oh, my back. Let me know if you can hear me. We good?
Yes, sorry,
Can
I
you hear
lost
me?
you there. Yeah, I can
That's
hear you
okay.
now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so like, someone once said, starting a business is like, chewing on glass and staring into the abyss, right? It's kind of just one of these realities of, there's going to be a lot of really difficult periods that you're not going to want to go through. And so
Hmm.
it takes a different kind of mindset and resilience to, I think, really see something through to its completion. And business is hard. It's very hard. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think looking back, I just didn't know. I didn't know how challenging it was going to be and how stressful it was going to be at times. It was really challenging, yeah. But I'm glad I've gone through it. I mean, at the end of the day, it just builds character. You just build resiliency, and
Hmm.
you learn how to problem solve, really well when you run a business. But yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it would have been nice to have known, like, okay, just what I was getting myself into. But you don't know what you don't know. So yeah.
Sure. What's been the joyful part of having a business, for you as the owner? Like, what do
I
you
think that
enjoy about it?
it's the stories, right? The stories of the clients, and and I get emails daily of like 5-star reviews that clients leave on our Google business listing, and it's reading
Hmm.
those reviews that kind of really helps drive me to do more, because I feel like, okay, at first it was just the Rui show, servicing all of the clients, doing all of the work. And now it feels like, wow, this thing is working. I've built a team around me. I've helped coach, develop, and mentor these stretch professionals who are doing just as good quality work as I was able to do when I started out, if not better.
Hmm.
And so you got, this team of 25 therapists, all who are literally like extensions of you, servicing now,
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of patients, across, Ontario. And it's a cool feeling, because like, it just feels like the level of impact is worth it, right? Like, I mean, all the hardships you go through it building a business become worth it when you see the positive impact you're having on people's lives. That's kind of the big driver.
I know you said something about mentorship. I guess people who are interested in mentoring with you, what's the process of having some sort of mentorship training from you?
I think right now we don't have any sort of like official mentorship group, but I would just encourage, if people
Mhm.
have questions or are interested in learning more about how to start a stretch business, to just reach out to me directly. I'm pretty accessible. Just go to the website, stretchhealth.ca, click the contact us page, leave it, drop us an email, and yeah, it'll get forwarded to me. And I'm always happy to help, other stretch therapists kind of, build build a practice, and, build a clientele, and, do something they love, but it's something that I have a deep passion for, obviously. And it would have
Mhm.
been cool, having someone, who's, built a big stretch brand ahead of me to kind of like, lean on for support and guidance. But yeah, it didn't exist at the time. So yeah, I'm always happy to
Yeah,
help.
no. And I thank you again for letting me, lean into this really and kind of hear more stories about, your business with Stretch Health Canada, because it kind of inspires me, helps me to know that, I can always lean for you for advice as I go along this journey. So thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Um,
Happy to help.
so can you tell the audience, besides going to Stretch Health, Stretch Health Canada, stretchhealth.ca, correct? That's the
Yeah.
website. Okay. Is there any social handle that they can follow or email to contact you if they have any questions, whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. If they want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, it's just Stretch Health Canada. You'll find us. And then if someone wants to drop us an email, it's just admin@stretchhealth.ca. So that'll go directly to our administrator, John, who can help kind of, filter their message if they want to get to, reach me directly. So yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, thank you, Rui, for letting me interview you and learning more about yourself and your business. Like I said, for me, it's just more of, the type of entrepreneurs I'm looking forward to kind of learn from and kind of help me guide along. So I appreciate it.
Great, Ian. Thank you so much. I appreciate it as well, and happy to chat with you. And yeah, anytime you want to do it again in the future, let me know. Happy to.
Okay, we'll do. Well, thanks everyone, and don't forget to subscribe to Stretch Health Canada and for my podcast, Stretch to Go podcast. We'll catch you guys later.
Yes.
Thanks, Rui.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. That was great, man.